you for attending the 27th observance of Memorial Day at Arapache Place of Peace Memorial. Today's observance make events like this possible. Our mayor, Keith Peaco, our village board of trustees, our village manager, George Katswara, and the members of the many village departments who labor very hard to make sure that these events go off smoothly and the way that we all need them to be. So thanks to all of you for what you do. We are here today to honor service members who did their duty in war and in peace, those who died in service to their country, or as a result of their service, or who survived their service but have since passed on. More specifically, we are here today to honor seven veterans whose names have been added to this monument, to this memorial. These are Americans who did the important things. They answered the call when their nation needed them. They went where they were ordered to go, when they were told to go. They did what they were told to do. And in keeping with the best traditions of American military service, they often took the initiative when the opportunity presented itself. They went beyond what they were ordered to do. They did what had to be done. Their actions were in support and in protection of their buddies, their families, our nation, and our way of life. Could you even take a wild guess how many years since 1900 our nation did not have service members in direct combat with an armed foe? I'll get back to that in a minute. Some of those years might have only had a couple of days, a couple of weeks, a couple of months, but many of them were 24/7, 365. World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, the global war on terror. All around the world, during each of the many years since our nation was founded, Americans in uniform did their duty to the best of their ability. Many gave everything they had. Each and every day, Americans in uniform stepped forward to do what had to be done. We are here today enjoying all the blessings of this great country because they did. The answer to my question earlier, since 1900, in 122 years, 2 years out of that 122 did we not have at some point Americans in uniform in a combat circumstance? Just 2. In the history of our nation, more than 40 million Americans have put on a military service uniform during times of war. Approximately 3 million of them died during or as a result of their service. And we honor all of them by remembering them today. We remember them here at Arapache Place of Peace. May all of them and all who cared for them, all who loved them, all who still miss them, find peace here today and in the future. Thank you for being here. It is important that you are. Please stand for the presentation of the colors by a combined color guard from American Legion, Orland Memorial Post 111, and Veterans of Foreign Wars, Reber Tessman Post 2604. The national anthem today will be performed by Laura Kaczynski, an Orland Park resident and daughter of Vietnam veteran Ed Kaczynski and his wife Beth. Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please take your seats. Reverend Don Morling of All Saints Lutheran Church is with us this morning to provide the invocation for today's observance. Reverend Morling.
Just want to share what an honor it is to be here and how much we appreciate the sacrifice of those who are fallen, and every one of you who serves our country, our veterans, for the gift of freedom that we too often take for granted. Let us pray. Lord, each one of us comes here today with a journey. In many ways, our journey is private because we have to walk in our own shoes. Nobody can walk it for us, but I know you walk it with us. And we care, too, because that's who we are. From Ukraine to Uvalde, Texas, to our own backyard, we too often walk in a world with lots of pain and division. But today, as every day, our flags wave in the winds of your spirit. They speak of freedom and valor and honor, those inner parts of us that need to shine brightly and boldly. Today we honor all those who gave it all. They answered the call. They put service to others over self, giving their own lives that we may live yet another day. It's too easy to take our freedom for granted, from making coffee in the morning to sitting with Grandma on her bungalow porch. Yeah, soldier, you gave it all. And so what can I do? I can give back every day, one moment, one random act of kindness at a time. It's who we are created to be. It's why you fought for us. It's why we are here today. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Borland, for that invocation and for your unwavering support. Always there for us in our community of veterans. Thank you, sir. As we continue our observance, Dan Braglia, a veteran of the United States Navy, a member of American Legion Orland Memorial Post 111, and member of the Orland Park Veterans Commission, will now place a memorial wreath at the base of the Veterans Memorial, Arapache, Place of Peace. Thank you. Today we are honored to have with us Lieutenant Colonel Jim Hannigan. Lieutenant Colonel Hannigan is a graduate of Sandburg High School and Illinois State University. He is currently assigned as the commander, 9th Battalion, Army Reserve Group, Army Reserve's Careers Group. He is privileged to lead Army Reserve career counselors in shaping the strength of the Army Reserve across the states of Illinois, Missouri, Kansas, and Arkansas. Lieutenant Colonel Hannigan has served the Army in all three components during his career, enlisting in the Illinois National Guard, serving on active duty in Germany and Iraq, and now with the Army Reserve. He has ties to our community through his parents, Jim and Peg Hannigan, and his uncle and aunt, Tom and Therese Duvelby. Lieutenant Colonel Hannigan and his wife Anna have 6 children, and we are fortunate to have him and his family with us today. Please welcome Lieutenant Colonel Jim Hannigan.
Good afternoon, and thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and the trustees. Thank you to the color guard. Thank you to the people working the sound. Thank you mostly to everyone in the seats, to the veterans, to the families, to the people who've made sacrifices, to the people remembering people who've made sacrifices today. When you invited me to speak today, I was initially flattered. Thank you for that. That quickly faded because the task of honoring the fallen, the task of expressing our gratitude to those they've left behind is an enormous task. It's not one I feel I measure up to. I'm sure others responsible for this ceremony today feel the same. There is not a sufficient or adequate honor that we can render to those who are not with us today. Today's not Veterans Day. Today we honor those who have given the last full measure of devotion, a phrase that can sometimes feel trite. There's no response that is sufficient to express the sacrifice that's been given for us today. Today we're grateful for the families. We're grateful for the husbands and wives. We're grateful for the mothers and fathers. We're grateful to the sisters and the brothers and the friends and the family. We're grateful to those who don't have someone from their hometown to come and speak. They're gone. So how do you pay tribute? How do you honor the fallen sufficiently? We could recount. We could number the fallen. To the Vietnam veterans here, I think you know that that's insufficient. We could tell the stories of those that we've lost, those that we miss. We could tell of their bravery. We could tell of their children. Somehow that's inadequate in this form, I think. Instead, I think we need to remember together. In a ceremony like this, there's not enough time, there's not enough people, there's no way to remember everybody. But I ask if you have somebody that you're remembering today, or if more generally you're just grateful, then remember them when we play taps later, when we fire the salute. We remember them together. We remember their type of sacrifice. That's really why we're here. The number and the individual stories can't measure up to the love that was portrayed, the love that was given to us in their sacrifice. For some, that's concrete, like the soldier who rushed to the burning Bradley to pull his soldiers out. To some, it's more abstract, but no less relevant. In all cases, those that we remember today laid their lives down for our way of life. They've done so in a way we can't repay. I ask you to remember them together in a moment of silence. Thank you. So now what? That's insufficient as well. How do we celebrate? How do we celebrate what they've given us? How should we live in light of that? And I'll add, it's okay to celebrate. You know, I don't know if your news feed, your social media news feed like mine is full of people just mourning today, this weekend. Bitter at barbecues and pools, right? Pictures of family members crowded around grave sites, all well and good remembrance. But it's okay to celebrate as well. What I'll ask, because there seems to be two audiences, right? There's those who are offended by the celebration. And what I would ask of you, if that's you, don't get offended. Retell their stories. When you're offended at the lack of knowledge of your friends that are gone or your family that's gone, don't get offended. Retell their stories. Tell of their bravery. Tell of your stories with them. If it's not you, if there's a salty old veteran who's just rubbed the wrong way when you thank them for their service today, then ask them to, they're probably remembering a friend of theirs. Ask them to tell the story of their friend. It's important that we pass along their stories. It's important that we pass along their great love and their sacrifice. Not just today, but living our lives in a manner that does that brings honor to what they've given. Not to measure up, not that we can repay, not in brooding silence. We've had our silence today. I asked you for a moment of silence. We'll have someone taps his plate. But instead, let's live our lives in grateful response to those who can't, to those who've given theirs up for us. I think it's the only way to respond to a life given for us, is with gratitude. Thank you.
Thank you, Lieutenant Colonel Hannigan. Wow. Our final speaker this morning is well known and recognized throughout our community. He is our mayor, Keith Peaco. He is an Air Force combat veteran and tireless supporter of all veterans and veterans activities throughout our community in the southwest suburbs. Those of us in the community of veterans know how fortunate we are to have Keith in our corner. Ladies and gentlemen, our mayor, Mr. Keith Peaco.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for coming today. I want to thank all of the veterans that are here in the audience today. I also would like to thank our Veterans Commission for hosting this and putting this together, as well as all of our staff. I'd also like to acknowledge our trustees that are here with us today, Trustee Compass, Trustee Radishevsky, Trustee Healy, Trustee Katsinas, and Trustee Milani. Thank you very much. I also want to thank all the family members who are here in person or virtually today. I'm deeply honored and proud to stand with you commemorating the sacrifices of those men and women who have given their lives in service to our nation. Colonel Hannigan was correct. This is not Veterans Day. This is to honor those who have fallen. Over time, Memorial Day has become the unofficial start of summer, a day of barbecue, of parties, and a day off. Please enjoy this, because they represent the way of life that many of us fought to protect, and many individuals gave their lives so that you could have. It is the Village of Orland Park's honor today to host our Memorial Day ceremony, remembering the men and women who have made the ultimate sacrifice for our country, for liberty and for freedom. Since before our country declared independence, men and women have been willing to pay the ultimate sacrifice to protect our freedoms and way of life. President Harry S. Truman said, Our debt to the heroic men and valiant women in the service of our country can never be repaid. They have earned our undying gratitude. America will never forget their sacrifices. I would like to take this time to welcome, to thank a man who represented the greatest in our generation and was here last year in honor of 416,800 servicemen and women that died in World War II, including my uncle Carl Ulrich. His name was Sam Crestel, and we lost him last year. He served as a private first class in the U.S. Army Air Corps, and he was a member of the military police and remains active with other veterans in Orland Park. So thank you to Sam, and it's unfortunate that we lost him. I would also like to take this moment to acknowledge any of those among us who have lost a loved one in the line of duty for our country. No words can adequately express our condolences, nor console a survivor's grief. Their bravery reminds us once again that the courage of those who served and their willingness to sacrifice on our behalf. A World War II hero said, "Each of the patriots whom we remember on this day was first a beloved son or daughter, a brother or sister, or a spouse, friend, and neighbor." That hero was President George H.W. Bush. Like me, all the veterans here today is personal for them because we have all lost friends who have given their lives to their country. I am fortunate that for me, those numbers are few. Captain Dennis White, Captain Jeff Flounder Onlander, and Major William Salty Watkins. However, we all need to remember that Memorial Day specifically honors the over 1.2 million Americans that have given their lives for us in war, in training, and since the Civil War. It began with the fight for American independence, where our founding fathers declared for the support of this declaration with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledged to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. These men and women served and made the ultimate sacrifice to protect the American idea. This idea is fragile and must continue to be protected. President Ronald Reagan said it best: "Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on for them to do the same." Freedom is not free, which happens to be the name of the poem that is in your handout in your guide today. Freedom isn't free. I watched the flag pass by one day. It fluttered in the breeze. A young Marine saluted it, and then he stood at ease. I looked at him in uniform, so young, so tall, so proud. He'd stand out in any crowd. I thought how many men like him had fallen through the years, how many died on foreign soil, how many mothers' tears, how many pilots' planes shot down, how many died at sea, how many foxholes were soldiers' graves. No, freedom isn't free. I heard the sound of taps one night when everything was still. I listened to the bugler play and felt a sudden chill. I wondered just how many times that taps had meant amen, when the flag had draped a coffin of a brother or friend. I thought of all the children, of the mothers and the wives, of fathers, sons, and husbands with interrupted lives. I thought about a graveyard at the bottom of the sea, of unmarked graves in Arlington. No, freedom isn't free. Please observe a moment of silence to honor those who have fallen in service to our country, both domestically and abroad, to protect our freedom. I would now like to take the time to read the names of the veterans that we will be adding to our memorial wall. When your name is called, if you can, please stand up. James John Rzonka, U.S. Army, 1955 to 1957. Michael F. Kozowski, U.S. Army, 1967 to 1973. Michael A. Liu, U.S. Marine Corps, 1975 to 1978. Bill Frank Slank, U.S. Marine Corps, 1943 to 1946. James Richard Bailey, U.S. Army, 1967 to 1969. James E. Thompson, U.S. Army, 1967 to 1970. Perry Carver Mason, U.S. Army, 1967 to 1969. Please give a round of applause to all of those that have added their names to the list. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Now, please welcome back Laura Kaczynski as she leads us, all of us, in the singing of God Bless America.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will conclude today's memorial service by rendering honors and by playing taps. Please remain standing.
Taps today was played by George Bowater III, a member of Buglers Across America.
Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our ceremony for today. We have a couple of administrative announcements to make once the color guard departs. Color guard? Now, ladies and gentlemen, our mayor, our trustees, and other members of our honor party will lay flowers around the memorial. Mr. Mayor? The remaining flowers being placed in front are for those of you who wish to put a flower specifically at a location on the wall today before you depart. And last, we would, actually two things. Those of you who are being honored today, or your loved one is being honored here today, we have their certificates here at the podium. Please come up before you leave and claim your certificate. And finally, the Village of Orland Park has a new program. It's sending comfort packages to service members anywhere in the world, United States, overseas, anywhere. If you know anyone who's serving and you would think that they would appreciate a comfort package, absolutely free of charge, then come up to the podium afterward and we will provide the information for you. Thank you very much, and thank you so much for being here today. It was important.